Tomorrow is the big day for the stock market. We've been waiting all week to hear this important inflation data, and it's going to release 1 hour before open tomorrow. Everyone's expecting around 8.1% year over year inflation. We're going to talk more about this in the rest of the video. And we're also going to cover some great plays for tomorrow and the rest of the week. Looking at the heat map so far today, it was very mixed. Investors are pretty scared heading into tomorrow. So stick with us to the end of today's video. We have a lot to talk about. But Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, we definitely do. And the SPY, Mike, has been flat pretty much all week, heading up into this big inflation data coming out tomorrow morning. That is going to be the big event everybody's waiting for at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. You can see the SPY today was very slow and choppy all throughout the day. We've really been holding up at this 356 support all week long. If we do end up breaking out and down and below this range, I think that we could seriously see a big sell-off on the SPY, and that's going to probably come in the morning if this inflation data comes in hotter than expected. Now, if it does come in lower than expected, we might see the market pop up or normalize a little bit, which would honestly be fantastic if it did. So hopefully it pops up, but this is going to be the big event tomorrow. Previously, they reported 8.3% on that inflation rate year over year. They're looking at a consensus right now of 8.1%. The trading economics forecast is 8.2%. So they are forecasting it to drop by 0.1%, Mike, which is pretty good. That would show that inflation's going down. And you can see on this chart of inflation this year, it's been really flying up ever since last January, where it was around 7.5%. We hit highs of 9.1. Now we're at 8.3. And if we do come in a little bit lower, that would show that we're moving in the right direction.
Exactly. And the reason this data is so important and why tomorrow is so important is because inflation's been out of control and the US economy cannot sustain levels of 9% inflation year over year. That would be horrible for the stock market and the economy. So the Federal Reserve has done a lot to bring inflation down, like increasing interest rates. We need to see inflation continue to drop, because if it doesn't, there's going to be some serious problems in the economy and the stock market. The good news is that it's expected to drop, so that's really good, but now we just need to see it like actually drop. And tomorrow is going to be, the day that, we find out whether it's dropping or not. So it's going to be volatile.
Yeah, it definitely is. And a lot of analysts out there, now obviously you can see right here that the big analysts in the market are obviously having a consensus of it dropping, but there are some like articles out there of some people contemplating that this could end up going higher, because obviously we've been seeing prices go up in stores and a lot of things like that. So some people think that maybe some parts of the market, as far as inflation goes, might be going up and other parts might be going down a little bit, but it's definitely going to be a crazy event. To me, it's like a coin flip, Mike. It's very hard to trade these type of events. And one of my favorite stocks to trade, obviously with everything going on, is the SPY itself. And like I said before, Mike, there is a huge support down here, right around 355.80 to 356. If we end up breaking below that tomorrow morning with this data, and obviously if the market has a very negative sentiment, watch for a big sell-off at open. I think we could possibly see some crazy volatility, and Mike, it's going to be crazy. It's going to bring in some day trading opportunities, but it's very important to be careful. Honestly, if I was day trading this, I'd be happy with 5, 10, 15%. I don't think I would try to hold it too long, because it's going to be up and down and be all over the place, just like we've seen all week long.
Yeah, so just to clarify, you're referring to like obviously 5, 10, or 15% on the options, just for the audience, right?
Yeah, definitely 5 to 10 to 15% on some SPY puts. If we do end up breaking down below there, it would probably end up being some puts expiring at the end of the week or maybe sometime next week if I did see that break. But yeah, definitely the options. If the SPY itself was down 5%, Mike, I mean, I might faint tomorrow.
Could you imagine? All right, so on to some kind of good news. So yesterday we talked about CCL. It was actually one of my favorite setups for the week. Today it started to move up, which is awesome. CCL is still one of my favorite setups over the next couple days and the next couple months. CCL stock has gotten demolished over the past couple years between everything with the pandemic and what we're experiencing now with inflation and just everything going on in the economy, that has been horrible for Carnival Cruise Lines, right? Their stock is actually at the lowest level since the early 1990s. Over the past couple years, this stock went from like $70 down to around 7. So it's been really bad. But in the short term, this stock moves a ton and it's awesome for short-term trades. So it's up a good amount today. To be specific, it's up around 10%. It has a lot of great moves. It has good momentum. So it's still on my watch list heading into the next couple weeks. Obviously, depending on what the market does, that can completely throw off the momentum. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be big. I mean, obviously, if the market tanks down tomorrow, it'll probably end up dragging down some of these cruise lines and airlines, but hopefully it can start to hold its own over the next couple weeks. Like you said, Mike, it is getting extremely low and definitely getting close to, well, like you said, down to those lows of the 90s. I was going to say close to its low of the year, but it actually broke that earlier this week. But another big play I'm watching for tomorrow morning, especially with the SPY going crazy, is some of these big semiconductor stocks like Nvidia and AMD. Now, Mike, a lot of people are probably thinking, look at Nvidia here. It's so low, it's probably going to bounce off support and go up, right? But if we do see the market tank down, we could probably still see Nvidia fall off by quite a bit. Same thing with AMD. These stocks have been extremely overbought over the past couple of years, and even at this valuation where it is now, it's still a little bit overbought. So I think we could still see some more downtrend come into maybe Nvidia, AMD, and some of those stocks, especially if the market falls off tomorrow. And I really wanted to mention Nvidia because if we look at this daily chart, there is a big support from back in the beginning of March of 2021. We are straddling that right now. And if we break that, it's going to be a pretty brutal move to the downside, just like what we're seeing with SPY on support too.
No doubt. Another big play I'm watching for tomorrow is TLT. Not too many people talk about this one, but it has to do with treasuries and interest rates. I know, boring stuff, but this stock actually does move quite a bit. Basically, if we see inflation data come in a lot higher than what everyone was expecting, likely that would make TLT fall. TLT fell a bunch over the past year, and I'm someone who believes that inflation data will start to calm down. That doesn't mean tomorrow, but over the next couple months, I believe inflation data will start to calm down. With that being said, I think interest rates will start to ease a little bit, and if that's the case, TLT will pop up. So TLT, I'm hoping that it pops up. I'm not going to make any bold, confident predictions heading into tomorrow because it's such a crucial day, but it is definitely one of the top stocks on my watch list, ideally to the upside. But if all hell breaks loose and inflation data comes in worse than expectations, it can fall a lot more.
Yeah, it definitely can. But I will say, Mike, as far as like a longer term outlook goes, I mean, I know a lot of people like to look at macroeconomic moves. And as far as TLT is concerned, this is a big drop to the downside from 172 down to 100. I am 100% going to be keeping this on the radar. And who knows, it might end up being pretty good to scoop up. And even if it does fall down in the short term, Mike, it's so low. I feel like that at some point here, rates have to give. But, I know some people are speculating we might get to those 20% rates we used to have back in the 80s. But man, I sure hope that doesn't happen, especially as I'm trying to, getting to the age to start investing in real estate.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of different opinions going on in the market right now. Like you said, we have some people saying inflation's not going to slow down and, we're going to see 15 to 20% mortgages. And you have other people saying that we're going to see rates back to zero in a couple of years. So lots of wild things happening in the market right now. We're definitely in an interesting situation, to say the least. Tom, what else do we need to know heading into tomorrow with, important news, events, or anything?
Yeah, so as far as important events go, tomorrow, just watch that CPI data. On Friday, we do have the retail sales at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time as well. That will be pretty big and affect a lot of retailers. And honestly, the retailers have done pretty well this week, like Walmart, Costco, and stocks like that. Even Kroger was on fire. So those stocks will be affected. And then we have the Michigan Consumer Sentiment preliminary data, which comes out at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So that'll be pretty big on Friday too. And then we also, Mike, we cannot forget these big earnings, which are coming out tomorrow before open. We're going to see TSM report, Delta, BlackRock, Domino's Pizza, Walgreens. So be aware, these are some huge stocks. Delta is going to affect a lot of cruise lines and airlines probably, so be ready for that. And BlackRock obviously is going to be huge for banks and just investment stocks in general. So be ready for that one too, Mike. I know that's big. And some people even have been interested in Domino's, I've seen in Discord today.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, I want to give a giant shout out to today's Discord member of the day, John Yang. You've been in the chat for a little over a year now, and you're pretty active. So you definitely deserve a shout out. We've also been asking some pretty good questions lately, so definitely keep it up. He was looking at CCL, which we were talking about quite a bit over the past couple days. So definitely keep up the great questions and the activity in the chat. Tom and I really appreciate you. But Tom, let's get right into the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have Enphase to the downside.
Yeah, poor Enphase here has been really falling off this year, and it's actually like almost triple bottoming this week. So if they fall below that low of yesterday, right around 246.50, watch for that huge sell-off, and it'll probably come obviously early on if that if the inflation data comes in hotter than expected.
All right, with the next one, we have Square to the upside.
Square, nice. Yeah, that was a pretty good close for them, up 5%. Go ahead and make them break above the $57 resistance.
And with the last one, we have Intel also to the upside.
Yeah, nice. Glad to see them up too. Go ahead and make them break out above 25.55.
Sounds good. So we're watching Intel and Square for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow. And then we are only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And then we are watching Enphase for a potential day trade to the downside tomorrow, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. This stock's been struggling quite a bit lately, so keep it on your radar. Also, if you guys are looking for daily options alerts, definitely check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. We post brand new setups every single day, especially for day trades. Today's play popped from $73 all the way up to $85. Our bot does a great job. Of course, not every single play wins, but the bot does a great job. You also get access to swing plays. You could chat with Tom and myself all day long, and we always add a bunch of new features over time. So when you decide to sign up, you'll get access to more and more features over time. And then if and when the prices do rise, you will be locked in at your rates. So keep it in mind. If you're looking for those daily alerts, definitely check it out. You can cancel at any time. Besides that, I'm super excited for tomorrow. We're set for a big day. We've been waiting all week for this inflation data to release, and it's just going to be a volatile, crazy day.
Yeah, it definitely is. Be ready for that volatility, guys. And one last thing that I wanted to cover really quick is just be very careful of the scammers out there, guys. I know there's been a ton on Discord and stuff like that lately. These are Mike and myself's accounts right here. So you can see he is MD3 hashtag 6007. Be very careful. There's a lot of people out there making fake accounts trying to impersonate us. So I just wanted to say that in tonight's video. It seems like they're getting more rampant than ever right now. So just be careful, guys. I'd hate to see everybody lose money because of that.
Yeah, and it sucks. They're all over the internet nowadays, Tom. Whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, it's like there's a bunch of bot accounts always trying to impersonate people. But, as always, be careful with all of that stuff, guys. Besides that, let's have an amazing end to the week.